I spent 8 months rebuilding my father's house, not living in it, rebuilding it. The back portion had been neglected for years, water-damaged walls, unstable flooring, outdated wiring that buzzed behind cracked plaster. My father called me after my divorce, his voice carrying that practical warmth he used when he wanted something. "You need somewhere to reset," he'd said. "Fix the place up, stay there, it'll give you security." At 34, recently separated and financially thinner than I wanted to admit, it sounded less like generosity and more like survival, so I poured myself into it. I used most of my savings. New insulation, plumbing, permits, flooring, kitchen cabinets I installed myself after work, my hands blistered and shoulders burning. I painted every wall, replaced broken windows, even landscaped the neglected yard. Neighbors complimented the transformation. My father accepted the praise as though he'd done it himself. I noticed that, but I ignored it. My sister Leah visited occasionally, usually with vague comments about how cute everything looked. She had never lifted a hammer, never contributed financially, but my father's softness around her remained unchanged from childhood. I told myself it didn't matter. I wasn't rebuilding my childhood. I was rebuilding my future. The night it ended, my father didn't even sit down. Leah was there, arms folded, avoiding my eyes. Dad stood in the kitchen I had installed with my own hands and said almost casually, "Your sister needs a place more than you do." I remember staring at him, not fully understanding. "She'll be moving in here," he continued. "You'll have to figure something else out." I actually thought he was joking, but then Leah said quietly, "It just makes more sense. Makes more sense." 8 months, nearly all my savings, hundreds of hours, and somehow I was still temporary. I looked at my father, really looked at him, and saw no hesitation, no guilt, just certainty. The kind that comes from believing your authority is unquestionable. "Okay," I said, "that was all, no screaming, no pleading. By sunrise, I was gone. I took my clothes, tools, paperwork, and left the keys on the counter. What they didn't realize, what my father had dismissed entirely, was that every permit, contractor agreement, reimbursement invoice, and materials purchase had been filed under my name because he had poor credit, because I was better with paperwork, because family trusts family. For 48 hours, I ignored the calls. Then the county building office posted a stop use compliance notice on the property. My father had never completed the legal transfer of occupancy status after major structural renovations. And since all authorized renovation filings were tied to me as the responsible party, my withdrawal from residency and liability triggered an automatic review. Leah couldn't legally move in. The newly renovated section was temporarily restricted until financing responsibilities, permit ownership, and code certifications were resolved. My father called 17 times that day. Then came the voicemails, first angry, then confused, then panicked. Why would you do this? But I hadn't done anything. I had simply stopped protecting him from the consequences of his own decisions. When he finally reached me, his voice sounded smaller than I'd ever heard. "You need to fix this." I sat in the extended stay hotel room my new employer had partially subsidized after I accepted a project management position in another city, a job I'd quietly secured months earlier. For the first time in years, I wasn't reacting. "I can't," I said calmly. "It's out of my hands now." Technically true, county officials, lenders, and legal documentation were not emotional systems. They did not bend for favoritism. He was silent. For once, there was no parental command powerful enough to reverse reality. Leah moved into a rental apartment 2 months later. My father had to refinance portions of the property and pay substantial compliance penalties. We still speak, occasionally birthdays, major holidays, short conversations with careful distance. He has never apologized directly. Maybe he can't. Maybe acknowledging what happened would require him to confront something larger than one decision. That I was never really his son in that house. I was labor, stability, usefulness. And once displaced, I became inconvenient. The strange part is, I don't hate him. Hatred would imply I'm still carrying something. What I feel now is quieter, a kind of permanent understanding. I renovated that house believing sacrifice could secure belonging. Instead, it taught me the cost of confusing usefulness with love. My new home is smaller, rented, nothing extravagant, but every wall inside it belongs to my own life. And when I lock the door, no one can reassign my place in it.